y'all, it's Katie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be reviewing my Garmin Venu 3S and telling you all about it, pros, cons, and everything I love about this watch. So here we go. So for a little context here, I had an Apple Watch Series 5 for 3 years before switching over to Garmin. And if you want to learn a little bit more about my experience with the Apple Watch, I have a whole video on it up here. And in that video, I contrast my husband's Garmin Instinct Solar to my Apple Watch Series 5, and I really loved a lot of features that his Garmin watch had. So when it was time to switch watches, I went ahead and swapped over to Garmin as well. So there are 5 basic categories we'll be looking at today. We have battery life, we have lifestyle features, app integrations, workout tracking, and community and extra features. So the first one in this category, this is the biggest reason I swapped from Apple to Garmin because this was such a big difference. My Apple Watch only had less than 24 hours of battery life. This puppy will get 2 to 3 weeks on a charge, and I timed it the other day. It only takes it just over an hour, roughly an hour and 15 minutes to go from 0% charge to 100%. So that's another big benefit. It doesn't take all night to charge on the stand like the Apple Watch did. And before I get any further, I did want to preface, I got this watch in early 2024, and so I've had it for almost 9 months now. So I have had this watch for a significant amount of time. So it's not just like an unboxing review where I haven't really spent any time on this and I don't know it very well yet. I really do know this watch and I really do love it. Okay, back to the review. So when considering battery life, this one is a beast. I love it. I can actually do sleep tracking with this watch because the battery life will accommodate that, and it has been such a good transition. It definitely doesn't have as much battery life as like my husband's Instinct Solar, which has that solar panel in the face itself, but it is still a really great battery life when considering other products on the market. And the only downside here when it comes to battery is that the charging cable is a very specific cable that only Garmin makes for their watches. The good news is both my husband and I have Garmin watches now, and so it's useful across the board in the Garmin family, but it's only Garmin watches. It's not like a USB-C that's something a little bit more universal, so you can only use it with Garmin products. So a little bit of a downside, oh well. And on to our next category, workout tracking. This watch has a ton of different workout options to choose from in its library. You can even go on and add extra options if it doesn't have the ones that you typically do. I went ahead and added things like ice skating and things that I occasionally do, but not all the time. A little bit more obscure type sports as well that other watches might not have in their workout libraries. And one of my favorite features of cardio workouts is the heart rate zone display. So it has a very visual gauge, kind of like an oil meter, gas meter, words. It uses the same color-coded system that my zone does, so you're able to visually see at a glance which zone you're working in. So it's a really efficient way of identifying that zone quickly and visually. I think the biggest reason I got this watch in the first place was because it has GPS tracking for runs and walks outdoors. So that is one of my favorite features because my Apple Watch was not accurate very much in the mileage, because when me and my husband would go running together, we'd both start our watches at the same time, stop them at the same time, and my mileage would be way off. We compared it with Google Maps and his was a lot more accurate. So now I have more accurate runs with GPS features through this. I love it, especially in the app when you're able to go back in and look at that workout afterward, the run. You're able to go see a mapped out picture of your run, and you're able to see different areas where you sped up or slowed down and your pace changed throughout the run. So that's one of my absolute favorite features about this GPS. And when I was considering buying the app, I did consider the Forerunner. I know that is one of the more run-specific watches that Garmin has. It's their Forerunner watch in that department. And so I specifically chose not to get that watch because I wanted more lifestyle type features, and the Forerunner lends itself towards triathlons and things like that when I don't need swim tracking and I don't bike. And so those features were not something I was looking for in a watch, but if you are and you're more into triathlons, multi-sport, then that might be a better fit for you too. And onto app integration. So this is one thing that I did have to sacrifice just a smidge coming from my Apple Watch because this watch does not allow you to download apps onto it like the Apple Watch does. That's one key feature of the Apple, and I think Samsung does that as well. But the Garmin app will connect to other apps as well. So it will connect to like Strava, for example. So after I complete a run, once I hit that done button, if I'm connected to my phone with Bluetooth range, then it will automatically upload that to Strava, so I don't have to do that myself manually after the run. And a slight negative here is that you can only receive incoming calls and texts, but you can't send out any calls or texts from the watch itself. So that's a slight negative in my opinion, because I did like the voice dictation feature for texting on Apple Watch, even if there are a ton of typos. And as far as music and things like that goes, when you're playing music on your phone, it will not connect to your watch, so you can't start and stop the music from your watch. That is a little slight negative that I did enjoy in the Apple Watch, but again, I wasn't really concerned about that. That was just kind of a side note. And moving on to activity tracking. So this is all those tracking features that will go throughout your lifestyle, not necessarily when you press the start button for a workout. It'll track your steps, your heart rate, your VO2 max, your pulse ox, and it'll remind you to stand up once in a while, but it also has this thing called body battery, which is a little bit interesting. So your body battery is a score based on your sleep and your workouts and your recovery and things like that that all go into account. So as you sleep and as you recover, that body battery increases, and as you work out or have stressful periods, that body battery diminishes. So over time, it's going to kind of fluctuate, but the body battery, you know, doesn't take RPE or rate of perceived exertion into account. So it can be kind of on, but it's also, I find that it's kind of off a lot. Hi, Tanner. But I think body battery is really promising because it does show you when you have had very stressful periods or when you have had, you know, less rest than normal, and it does tell you, hey, you need to slow down a little bit, you should probably take a nap or something. So I think that can be helpful, especially when you're having busy, hectic days, or when you're not really in the mindset to rest, it'll tell you to slow down. And so I like that feature personally. And onto our final category, community and extra features. So this is a category where I just kind of lump summed a bunch of my pros and cons that I had thought about, especially when comparing my previous experience with the Apple Watch to now. So this is a bigger category. So we're gonna start with the pros and the things I absolutely love about this watch. First off here is sleep tracking. I can actually use the sleep tracking features on this watch because it has a good battery life. So awesome. And I love this feature because it'll show you when you're in your REM cycles, when you're going through your deep sleep, when you're in lighter sleep, or when you have wake periods. And it'll give you an overall sleep score with the duration you've slept and everything like that when you wake up. And I love this feature because my husband and I would take that sleep score and the duration of our sleep, especially in that first 6 to 8 weeks after our son was born. So that was the funniest thing, and it helped us decide who is the most tired and who needed naps during the day and everything. So it was kind of a little fun competition. And one of my favorite things about the sleep here is that it has a sleep coach feature. So we used this on our trip to the UK earlier in the spring, and it was super helpful with adjusting to the new time zone. It would give us certain recommendations for duration of sleep and when we'd need naps and things to help us adjust to the time zone well. And then when we got back, it really helped because that slammed into us like a freight train when we got back to the US after that. But it was so helpful being able to get back into a new routine using the sleep coach. Plus, Garmin has a great community page, so it'll show recent workouts and you can go in and like or comment on those workouts as well. So that's a really fun feature. If you have lots of friends on the Garmin app, you can friend them and support each other. The Garmin app also has several different training plans and programs you can be a part of, as well as badges and other things that reward you for extra exercise or achieving certain goals like 30 workouts in a month. Another pro here is that it has a lot of good tactile buttons. I love that it has these 3 buttons on the side, and especially with the stopwatch feature and things like that, I use it a lot when doing my Deca and Hyrox runs because I can have that tactile button, and it even does a little vibration during the stopwatch mode so that you can know that you hit it for a lap or to stop the watch altogether. So it's a really nice to have that tactile notification almost that you've hit the button correctly, because on the Apple Watch it didn't have that, and it was really hard to tell if you actually hit the button or not during a sim, and it was really distracting, and then it got you off your time, and it was just super annoying to me personally. Plus, when you use the stopwatch mode, it has this really great breakdown after the fact so you can see exactly what each lap was with that overall time and all that fun jazz. And it'll even show in your Strava too. It also has a really durable frame and durable glass because, you know, your girl is super clumsy and I'll clank it against the treadmills or different equipment at the gym all the time, and it is really durable. You can tell it has maybe a couple very small surface scratches, but honestly, it's held up amazingly with how much wear and tear I put it through. Plus, it's decently customizable too. You can change the watch face, the different colors, the arrangement of the icons on the watch face, and you can also change out the watch strap too. So that's a really nice feature. And there are a couple cons to consider here too. The first one being, speaking of watch bands, the silicone watch band that comes with the watch, the one that I'm wearing right now, is a little bit irritating, especially if your skin is very sensitive or anything like mine is. The silicone watch band, if I have it too tight, it will rub against my skin, it'll rub it raw underneath. So I do have to loosen this up if I'm wearing it on the daily, and I just tighten it up whenever I want to go for a run or hit the gym. But the good news is you can swap out that band if it's annoying. Another random thing I noticed was that the touch sensitivity of the screen is not super sensitive, which is really good if you're clumsy and you accidentally swipe it a lot. But if you're trying to get in there and swipe and, you know, click on things, it is a little bit annoying when you have to swipe it a couple times to get it to react. And this is a really odd detail, but after connecting my watch to my phone will no longer allow me to voice dictate texts and things, which is really strange because you wouldn't think that this Bluetooth connection would affect voice dictation, but it does for whatever reason. And I don't know if there's any quick fixes for that. If there is, please let me know in the comments because I would love to be able to use the voice dictation on my phone again. But that's just one little odd detail that I noticed with this. And the last con, which is the biggest con in my book, this is the feature I so wish Garmin will integrate into future watches, is that you can't ping your phone from your watch. That was my favorite feature with the Apple Watch because my number one question to my husband is, where is my phone? And with the Apple Watch, I could quickly and easily find that phone by pinging it, but on this watch, you cannot ping your phone from the watch. So that is one big negative in my book, but honestly, out of all these features, out of all the pros and cons and workout tracking versus lifestyle features, I do think the Apple Watch is a little bit better of a lifestyle watch, but I absolutely adore the workout features and the app that the Garmin products have. And so in my book, the Garmin watch is superior, especially considering that battery life. So I personally love my Garmin Venu. And I think it's the perfect combination of lifestyle and workout tracking for me. What do you think about it? Let me know if you agree, disagree, love it, hate it, whatever. Go ahead and drop those in the comments below and let me know what you think. And thanks for rolling with me today in this weird setup because I'm actually in my nursery. We're in between YouTube spaces right now, so this is what we've got and I'm using it. And don't forget to subscribe and like if you learned something in this video. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one. Stay healthy. Bye.